What's good, everybody? This is the Dine with Josh and Quab. We want to ask you to subscribe, like, and drop comments because we take your comments and we use them for future episodes of the show. You can look back at some of our full episodes. We take tweets, we take YouTube comments, and we want to incorporate you as much as possible. Please subscribe. We do reactions to primetime games and sometimes Nick games. I can't help it. Let us know what you want to.
Sometimes
okay.
Nick games.
We do it a lot. We do it a lot.
Nick games.
But interact with us. We want this to be your show too. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the video. Yes, this is NBA Twitter where Quab and I find 3 tweets on our timeline and we discuss them. We retweet, we reply, we like, or we just keep scrolling. Quab, are you ready to do the damn thing?
Let's do it.
All right, first tweet comes from P at playoff PB-ball, and he says, Donte DiVincenzo is unplayable. Who would have thought that would be the case coming into this season? Legit trash on both ends. Quab, this breaks my heart. Absolutely breaks my heart as a Knick fan. Probably the most well-liked, most popular one-year Knick of my lifetime. What do you say to this tweet? Do you reply? Do you quote tweet it? Do you like it? Do you keep scrolling? What do you do?
Me personally, I'm not. I don't engage when I see something I don't really care about on Twitter. So
I don't give a fuck about Donte. I don't give a damn.
I'm like, God, it's just like a negative. Like I understand how some people feel. Like if you feel negative about the way Donte is playing, but to say he's unplayable is it's a wild ass statement to say. I feel like it's a wild ass statement to say. Yes, he hasn't had the best year, but there's a lot of circumstances that go into this. Like he's coming off a great year, like as you said, when he was on the Knicks, and then to be suddenly traded out of nowhere, which was kind of close to the start of the season. Yeah. So I think it was weird for all fronts. And then the couple of games I've watched with the TWolves, he's probably one of the few players on the team that gets Rudy Gobert the ball, like on alley-oops and passes, which is...
Is that a good thing? Do you want to be feeding
Rudy finishes. I'll say that. I'm not.
Rudy will finish an alley-oop. I'll give you that. He'll finish an alley-oop. That's it. Anything 4 feet and beyond, no.
Which is very. Yeah. Now we're turning into the Rudy slander.
Yeah, I don't hate Rudy. I'm being honest with you. He's a weird dude, but I don't hate.
You just wouldn't give him the ball like Julius Randle.
I wouldn't pass the ball either. No, I wouldn't.
Get out
I passed everybody. I passed everybody. Yes, and I don't know if I'd pass the ball to Rudy.
So I'll say this, but Donte is one of the players I see that like makes an effort to get him the ball. Yes, he's having a tough stretch right now, but to say he's unplayable is wild. So I probably wouldn't. I would just be like, I'll probably keep scrolling. What would you do if you saw the tweet?
I would quote tweet and say, bring him back to the Knicks, baby. We'll take him back. I will take Donte back. I don't care how bad he's playing right now with Minnesota. And I think a lot of it has to do with fit, going into a new city. They're having him run point guard sometimes. He's not a point guard. He's not. I mean, he can handle the ball, don't get me wrong. But he's not a point guard, and he's not somebody who you want creating for yourself. I mean, outside of last year, he turned the ball over a lot. Like, he turned the ball over a lot in Milwaukee. He turned it a lot in Golden State. Something happened with Tibbs. I think it was just a green light that he was given. Also, he started the year on the bench, and then when he came in for Quentin Grimes, it was almost like no pressure. I think the situation was a little different last year where there weren't these crazy expectations for him. He was just, hey, come off the bench, hit some threes, provide a spark, and then it just turned into a situation where Grimes wasn't fitting with the starting lineup. He was playing with his best friends. That gives you superpowers, and he had a green light, and he was able to do whatever he wants. In Minnesota, it's not really the case, and you see it all the time, right? Like if you go to a spot where you're thinking, where you're trying to fit in, when you're not doing the same things that you were doing in a place where you had success or an environment where you had success, that can get to your head. It can absolutely get to your head. And I think that's going on with him. I think if he returns back to New York, which, I mean, I'm saying this, it's not going to happen. Like, I would love that. Like, pie in the sky, I would love that. But if he gets into a situation where he has the green light like he did in New York, where they are setting plays up for him, I'm not saying that they're not doing that in Minnesota, but it's just not the same. And fit is such a huge part of someone's success in the NBA. The older I get, the more I realize that. It's just like, damn, where you get drafted matters. You know, the system that your coach runs matters. All this stuff matters. Every single part of it matters. And, you know, right now, the Timberwolves as a team in general, not just Donte, as a team, they're having a hard time just gelling. They don't fit. Last year's Knicks team, say what you want about their ceiling, that team, the reason why we loved them was because they fit. They complemented each other beautifully. Everybody had a role. Everybody filled that role, and no one played outside themselves. So I would quote tweet it saying, trade him back to New York, please, but knowing that it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, not gonna happen. I don't see that happening. And also to the TWolves, I still don't understand why they made the trade, but that's a whole other topic. So
that's a whole nother topic. All right, so we want to tweet number 2. It comes from Coach Rome at Rome_Beast. He says Dalton Knecht is a huge reason why the Lakers aren't an under 500 team. Insane to say, but it's a fact. Quab, I don't know how much Lakers basketball you've watched. I recently just did a reaction video about their loss to the Suns and kind of went off on them. But I want to get your opinion on this. Do you think that this is true? Retweet, quote tweet, reply, like. What do you got?
I'll hit a like, little like button on that. I think he's been definitely a positive factor in a lot of their wins. Just having a true floor spacer makes a difference for LeBron, for Anthony Davis. I think the couple of games that they have lost, in this little stretch, like he didn't start. So I think he started tonight, and they won regardless.
Yeah, he had 20.
Yeah, 20. Like he's a knockdown shooter. When he plays and he gets shots, he hits shots, and that opens up the floor for AD, opens up the floor for LeBron. LeBron loves passing to him, and my whole thing has always been like. With LeBron, you look in his past success on different teams, he's always been surrounded by people that can hit shots.
Yeah.
And when other players are in the game, like Cam Reddish, been having a good year defensively, but he's not really considered a knockdown shooter. Gabe Vincent still living off the Heat culture.
Gabe is this is a different human being. I do not recognize him. That is not the guy who started for the Miami Heat that got to the NBA Finals.
That was murdering y'all. Like, I mean, it's just you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's, they're having a lineup of like Reeves and Dalton helps the team like offensively, and it spreads out the floor, and so it helps AD, helps LeBron. So I would hit the like when I agree with that.
I would hit the like button too, just because I have nothing else to add to it. Yeah. For me, with the Lakers, and I said this in the Suns Laker reaction video, but I'm gonna say it here because no one watched the video. For me, like with the Lakers, it's about effort. You know what I mean? It's the defensive effort has been absolutely pathetic. In the second half against the Suns, the Suns were just going to the hoop at will. AD could only do so much. Yeah. He's one of the best defensive players in the league, if not the best defensive player in the league, but he can only do so much. They are getting to the rim at will at times. There's no effort on defense. They can't guard the pick and roll. And then offensively, it started with the LeBron turnover where he was flat-footed and just tried to force a pass into the lane with, I think it was Cam Reddish cutting. And that opened up the floodgates of like, hey, one pass and we're just going to chuck up a three-pointer with no offense whatsoever. And you know damn well JJ Redick has offensive sets for these guys to run. This isn't the same Darvin Ham situation. In my mind right now, I know it's early. I don't want to make, big proclamations, but I think it's safe to say that JJ Redick's probably a better coach than Darvin Ham at this point. We don't know what he's going to be. We don't know how he's going to end up. But I think it's safe to say that JJ's probably a better fit for this team. But you can't coach the lack of hustle, the lack of defensive awareness, the lack of want it on the defensive end that this team just does not have. And I don't know what it is about this team. When things start going down, I don't want to say they give up. Give up's a strong statement, but they tumble. Like they don't know how to stop momentum, which is weird. A lot of people don't think momentum exists in sports. I'm not one of those people. I think momentum's a really, it's not a tangible thing. I think that's why people don't really believe it. But it's a very human thing. Once you start getting into quicksand, it's hard to get out of. And the Lakers, when they're in quicksand, they get out of it worse than anybody in the league. It feels like for the most part.
I'll say this though, compared to last year, like you were
better, way better.
It's way better because there's a couple games where we've actually watched where it was like they would have lost last year. They would have just folded. Yeah. But they still stayed in and came back. But to your point and the reaction you had, like sometimes when it's going down, they just like, well, let go of the rope, and they just let it happen instead of like trying to put up a fight or put up a little bit more effort.
Yeah, and I wonder if some of that's like LeBron's age, right? Like, and I'm not blaming it on LeBron, but when you're as old as he is, like, no offense, in NBA years, you get to, like at the end of the first half, he was grasping at his shorts, for air. He was tired. He's exhausted. How much can he do? He can't take over a game like he used to be able to take over. So I wonder if there's nights where LeBron just kind of like, all right, we'll just call this one. We're in Phoenix, let's just call it with a back-to-back, whatever. I wonder how much of that is that. I also wonder how much of it is just the team's personality. I don't really think of the Lakers as a mentally tough team. I don't.
Okay.
And it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to say about LeBron James' team, because you can say whatever you want about LeBron. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you think that them not having like reliable bench pieces factors into it?
Yeah, I do.
Like because we just mentioned Gabe Vincent, who gets minutes and has his shooting numbers have been, I don't want to say atrocious, but they haven't been good. They moved D'Lo to the bench, and he has up and down games.
Up and down. First of all, the fact that they give him the keys to run is insane. That's like trusting a New York City cab driver to get you home safely and just go. Like, just tell
You'll get there. You'll get there.
You'll get there, but you might die. You might die. But you get there. You might die, or something's gonna happen. Someone's gonna get cursed out. You might it's like trust. It's like giving the keys to a New York City cab driver and saying, you know what, break all the rules. Do what you got to do. That's what it's like for giving D'Angelo Russell the keys. I'm not a big fan of D'Angelo Russell and the way he plays basketball. I think obviously he's very talented, but I do think running the offense through him at times is a reason why they get where they get sometimes. There are a lot of problems with the Lakers, and I don't think JJ's a problem. I don't think LeBron's a problem. I don't think AD's a problem. I think the mentality of the roster and their defensive makeup might be a little bit of a problem, which is weird because they don't have a roster full of bad defenders, if you think about it, right? They're not terrible defensively. I'm not going to sit here and say that their defensive personnel is fantastic, but they're not terrible, right?
True.
Maybe Laker fans, maybe you can tell me, but I don't think they have terrible individual defenders. I just think at times LeBron gets tired. I think at times AD can't cover up everything, and they can't guard the pick and roll.
They don't have a lot of room for error sometimes, and that's been a big thing I've seen this year. Like if LeBron and AD are not having really good games and they don't get something from somebody else, if it's Reeves or even Dalton, Dalton Knecht has had some great like games here and there that's helped them win. Like it's usually all downhill.
All right, let's go to tweet number 3. It's from Doug Norrie at Doug Norrie. He says, Jordy Fernandez could pull 5 random fans out of the crowd and Nets would still cover the spread.
Yes.
Quad, me, you, 3 other guys at the Nets game. Do we cover? Do we cover against the Charlotte Hornets on a random Wednesday night in Brooklyn?
Yes, easily.
So you like this? You tweet it?
I'm retweeting it, quote tweeting it, liking it. Pinning it. Look, man. Look, start of the season, everybody made the jokes, said the Nets are supposed to be tanking. Mm-hmm. And it's after the first stretch of games to start the season, you're like, hey, man, this team kind of plays really hard.
Yeah.
We talked about this in an early episode where like you had texted me when you were like, hey, are the Nets good?
I was like legitimately asking you.
Because of how they play. Like, even today, they beat the Suns after they beat the Warriors and after they beat the Sacramento Kings. Three teams that nobody probably expected them to win. I don't think you.
The Bucks too.
Yeah, you would probably put your money on the other team.
Yeah.
But the thing with how Jody Fernandez has been coaching and how the team plays, they play really hard. They have a system. They have just an identity of how they want to play. And it's that everybody makes the cliche statement of next man up. But that's how this team has been the whole season. No Cam Thomas, no Nick Claxton. It's a bunch of other players that have been contributing during the early start of the season that have been down this game. And Tyrese Martin came off the bench and had 30 points.
What?
And I was watching. I'm like, yo, Tyrese Martin's going off. Who's Tyrese Martin? I mean, Dennis
I'm glad you
Schroeder's
said it. I was sitting back here like pretending like I knew who he was.
yeah, he played for UConn, but like you
Yeah.
got Dennis Schroeder he's having a great season. I think he had 29 points this last game, and they just keep winning. I mean, this team employs Ben Simmons, and somehow they keep winning. So I know there are a lot of Nets fans that are upset because they were like, in their minds, they want this team to like just really, really tank and have a chance at a very high draft pick. And to me, it's hard to tank. It's hard to like really tank an NBA unless you do what the Sixers did when they played like a horde of G League players and
Yeah.
and any time where a player would like be playing well, they'd be like, no, you have to sit down now. You're showing too much. But yeah, it's been to me as a Nets fan, it's been fun to watch. But also like I'm conflicted because I'm like, you guys are too good.
So my thing of this is like it reminds me of the 2020 Knicks. Remember that year Julius Randle and them they made the 4 seed. I don't think the Nets are going to be a 4 seed in the Eastern Conference, but there was a time when Knicks fans like myself wanted the Knicks to be bad and to tank and to get the highest draft pick possible. And after that year when they were the 4 seed, a lot of Knicks fans were still upset because it's like, we had a fun year, it was a good year, but like what did that get us? We're a 4 seed now. We don't have a high draft pick. There's like no future. What ended up happening was that 2020 season ended up being probably the best thing that's ever happened to the franchise because it solidified them as a serious franchise.
Yep.
And it gave them credibility. And it gave them the power to get a Jalen Brunson, to have, the assets to maneuver a trade for OG Anunoby because, the young players who got you there, Emmanuel Quickly, an Obi Toppin who they traded, to Indiana, but a Quentin Grimes the next year who came in and then eventually became a starter, to trade to Detroit to end up clearing cap space to get Mikal Bridges. Like all these players who got them to that level in 2020, 21, 22 have been traded for upgrades, essentially.
Yep.
You could argue. So for me, I know Net fans, and this would be my thing I would actually just say to you as a friend, where it's just like, just enjoy the ride. You never know what a draft pick's going to be. You can get the second pick of the draft, and he could be absolutely awful.
He could be.
You can draft. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Or you can draft, and this is no disrespect to Zion. You can tank for Zion, and then he's injured half the time.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You never know. I wanted Zion so bad. But if the Knicks didn't draft R.J. Barrett, and I'm not saying R.J. Barrett's great, but he was enticing enough for them to trade for OG Anunoby. Yeah. So a lot of these things are like, you just don't know what's going to happen. And I think having a coach like Fernandez instilling some type of culture in Brooklyn and having the pieces like that, it's almost what Kenny Atkinson was doing before.
Yes, exactly.
Everything, until like y'all jumped off the cliff. And to be honest with you, I don't blame the franchise because that's what I wanted the Knicks to do. And when the Nets did it, everyone was praising them. Everyone rags on the Nets because hindsight's 2020. Retroactively, you can look back and say that was a mistake, but it was a mistake for a lot of unseen circumstances, right? Well, you didn't know we are going to have an effing pandemic where Kyrie Irving, you know what I mean, was going to and people just have different opinions, whether you agree with them or not. You didn't know that he was going to react that way. You didn't know James Harden was going to get hurt. You didn't know that there's just so many things that happened. Like the Nets, the year that Kyrie and James Harden went out against, they were going to win the championship. I would. In any alternate universe where they stay healthy, they win a championship. Look, that's my opinion.
James Harden, I remember game 1, James Harden went down against the Bucks, and they still blew out the Bucks by like 50.
Yeah,
and I was like,
same thing.
Same thing. I was like, oh wow. Yeah. I'm like, this is kind of different, but like you said, shit happens, and it doesn't go according to plan. And it was a great ride, but I don't want to reminisce about the past because I'm just going to get upset.
No, my whole point was just basically like, this is not the worst thing in the world. Just because you're not tanking and getting a high draft pick doesn't matter. We gave you 6. We gave you everything. You have a bunch of them. Enjoy them.
Was that an overpay? Was that in your
right now? It's looking like it. I like Mikal. The thing with him, this is a weird thing to say, but I do think I wouldn't have liked it if they got Cat first. Does that make sense? Like getting Cat, like I feel like just kind of diminished his role and what he would have been if you still had Julius and Donte. I think he would have fit in better with that team than he fits right now, if that makes any sense. I mean, and you can go on my Twitter. I say it's an overpay, but I was for it. So I'm going to stand by that until, a couple of years. I mean, because Isaiah Hartenstein got off to a slow start. there are players who've gotten off to slow starts in New York, and Isaiah Hartenstein. You talk to any Nick about him, Nick family, we cry. We miss him so much. So
Hey man, but thanks for the draft picks. That's all I'm saying. Appreciate it.
anyway, I would quote tweet this tweet, and I would say, "Don't tempt me with a good time," and I would actually tag you in it and say when we going to Brooklyn, because that would be my dream to play in an NBA game, and to actually cover would be dope. It would be dope. It's like when we covered the first half spread against the N1 mixtape crew. We're not going to talk about what happened in the second half.
We're not going to talk about second half. I'm going to talk about second half. Homie going off for 70 points. What he's going?
Who's the guy who passed away? What's his name? Bone collector.
Alamo.
Oh, Alamo. Yeah. Well, R.I.P. Alamo. We played against him. He killed us. He was phenomenal. Anyway, moving on. All right, it's time for our weekly power rankings. Quab and I give you our top 10 teams. According to us, there's no criteria. Just join along, have fun. Let us know what you think in the comments. Who do we underrate? Who do we overrate? Who should be on here? Who shouldn't be on here? And let us know our logical fallacies, which you like to do. And we're for it. I don't care. Quab.
Look, if you don't agree with us, just make a logical argument. Like stop with the some of y'all be jumping out the window. Relax. It's not that deep, brother. Like
I love it. No, I love it. This is what makes sports fun, just the disagreements and being able to state your case. I like it. I like it. But I will respond in the comments like, yes, and I'm nice. I'm nice. You're dealing with me when you're talking to the comments.
Too nice. And I say, by the way, too nice.
I think debate is a part of sports culture, and it's a great thing. So anyway, let's start with number 10. The Milwaukee Bucks make the – give it up. Give it up for the Bucks.
I just want to make the point. That the Bucks have been winning since the Nassers has been showing up, sitting in the bench in the front row and cheering on. Just want to make the point.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you. How much of this is on Thanasis? How much of this?
All of it.
Every single part of it.
It's not coaching. It's not that the team has been playing better. None of that. Right. It's just
not Dane carrying them in Miami. Nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Not me. When the family shows up, you know what I mean. The team goes hard. That's all that matters.
All vibes.
It hasn't been because of the coaching making changes in the lineup.
AJ Green in the starting lineup, balling. Now Giannis having an MVP candidate type season. Nothing like that. Okay, got you.
That just shows up presence. You know what I mean, the energy gets built up. You know what I mean. So Bucks, you're number 10 now. Thank you for
listen, there are a lot of teams that have better records than the Bucks, but those teams don't have higher ceilings than the Bucks, I would say. And also, like, we've had the Bucks in the corner where the New York Knicks are right now. You better sit there and think about how you played against the Mavericks and Jazz. But we wanted to show them love. They've been in the corner for too long.
And they got Chris Middleton is on his way back too. So I mean, they should be trending up. I try to make the argument for the Nets to be number 10, but
not happening.
But somebody didn't want to agree with me. So now we have the Bucks.
They are under 5. We put a 500 team at number 10, which might be blasphemous. There's going to be a lot of teams, Western Conference teams, who fans of them have just been like, you guys are out of your mind. And they're leaving the video right now because we have the Bucks at 10. That's what's happening. Our retention rate has just dipped a little bit. Let's go to number 9, where you have the Los Angeles Clippers, 12-8, 6-1 in their last 7, Quab, with wins against the Kings, Sixers, and Wizards. They lost at Boston. They got smacked by Boston. That was their week. But 3-1, James Harden, quietly doing James Harden things. He's been great for the Clippers. I think I wouldn't say godsend. I was going to say that. Now that would have been jumping out the window a little bit. But him and Norman Powell. Norman's been hurt. But other players stepping up, man. I like the Clippers, and low key, Kawhi's waiting in the wings. Who knows?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. We don't know.
No.
You don't even know. Watching, you have no idea. You don't know.
You don't know if he's coming. You don't know if he comes back. That'd be great for the Clippers, though.
Yeah,
that'd be great for the Clippers if he comes back.
It'd be great for the Clippers to make the second round with Kawhi, and then all of a sudden they take a 2-0 lead in the second round, and Kawhi decides, "Nah, done. Can't do it."
When did that happen? That's crazy. It sounds like
Phoenix, but
sounds like fan fiction. I don't think that
it happened when they played Phoenix. But I will say this: to be fair to Kawhi, he's hurt. Yep. What are you gonna do when you're hurt? I can't say that he's just goes up 2-0 and decides to sit out. I don't think that's true. I think he's legitimately hurt. And I feel bad for him.
After he was having a great series too, which
he was killing it. He was.
It's wild. It's wild. But shout out to the Clippers, man. They've been all season. They've been playing well. James Harden, like he said, he's the system. So I mean, it's been working, and they've been winning.
Shout out to Ty Lue. I give him a lot of. I thought Ty Lue was a little overrated in Cleveland. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he was a product of LeBron James, but he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. All right, so we went to number 8. The Memphis Grizzlies in at 12-7 with wins over the Bulls, Blazers, and Pistons. They did not lose last week. Ja Morant is back. He's dunking on people. This team is deep. Jalen Wells is dope. Just Jay Huff, another person out of nowhere. It's almost like they become the Miami Heat of the West. Quab, your thoughts on the Grizzlies?
Yeah, they've been even through all the injuries, they've still been playing hard. They've been winning.
They're deep, bro.
They're deep. Yeah. If they're able to all get healthy at the right time, which has been like the main issue. Like even when we did the Memphis Grizzlies preview, we kept not we didn't want to say the word that they were cursed, but it always feels like they're cursed. Like they'll have a good stretch and somebody gets injured. But they're a deep team, like Scottie Pippen Jr. have going off in Chicago.
Right. And they had they scored 140. Like I don't know what the score was, but I remember the score being like astronomically high. But they're playing the Bulls. The Bulls are the worst defensive team in the league, and also I think they play at the fastest pace.
Yes, I think so too.
So you're gonna get that in Bulls games.
You're gonna get that, and also like you said, you mentioned a couple of players like Jay Huff, like he's.
I love him. I love him.
That man stole or activated a Plumlee dunk package. All he does is reverse dunks. I don't.
He's Kizzo. That's Kizzo.
Good call. Yeah, true.
Looks and everything. That's who he is. All right, let's move on to number 7. We have the Dallas Mavericks in at 11-8 with wins over the Nuggets, the Hawks, and the Knicks. They did lose in Miami, but they have been without Luka. I was really impressed with the Nuggets. I'm not the Nuggets. I've been really impressed with the Mavs, what I saw with them this week. They went up huge in Denver. Denver came all the way back. They took the haymaker to the face and ended up winning that game. Just finished them wiping the floor. Watching them wipe the floor with my New York Knicks. I miss you, Quentin Grimes. They did lose to the Heat in an overtime game, which I think they actually should have won. They were up like 4 or 5 with I think like 20, 30 seconds left. But I've watched a lot of Dallas Mavericks basketball this week, and I'm very impressed with the others. I mean, talk about the help that Kyrie and Luka has. You have P.J. Washington. Najee Marshall's having a great year. Quentin Grimes is coming around. He's been playing really well lately. They're sent Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, Spencer Dinwiddie, like Kobe Bryant today for some reason. This team is good, man. We have them at 7. I think eventually we're going to get to a point where they're going to be consistently in the top 5.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, Spencer going off against Joe shouldn't be anything new. He doesn't like.
I don't know if you saw the shots he was hitting today. They were just absurd.
He likes beating up on the Knicks. Just that's a form in that. It's just tradition. You try to show off on the Knicks, but like you said, the others, but another team that's kind of shown they're kind of deep, and you're waiting to see what it looks like when Luka gets back. To me, they look like they've been playing faster without Luka, and the ball's hopping around. It's more spread out. So you're hoping that continues when Luka gets back. So hopefully he comes back healthy, because even in the Nuggets game, there were stretches where they kind of hit a lull and they weren't scoring. It was kind of slow. And those are the times Luka would probably like just go off for a little, his step backs and create for a couple other players. So yeah, they're good. They're good. So I don't know if their return to the finals good though, but they're good.
I think they might be. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just based off what I've seen from the Western Conference. We'll get into one of the teams later, but again, like to your point, you just said this, but just to hammer it down, like in the half court. PJ Washington's like getting buckets. You have Najee Marshall like with the ball handling the rock. It's not just like what it is with Luka, where they give the ball to Luka and he just decides who to pass it to and make something happen, which isn't always a bad thing. They're not doing that with Kyrie, where he's doing that. It's kind of like there's motion and people are moving, and it's Quentin Grimes. Like, listen, if you're a fan of the Dime, if you listen to the Dime, you're very well aware of this rant that I'm about to say. But this is what happens when you don't stick Quentin Grimes in the corner and just leave him alone and pass him the basketball. He's actually pretty fucking good. He's pretty good. He can do things.
He's all right.
And the Mavs are doing that with every one of their players. You know, they're giving Marshall an opportunity to do his thing. They're giving Washington an opportunity to do his thing. They're lobbing it up to Lively. All right, so on to number 6, the Orlando Magic in at 13-7 wins at the Lakers. Franz Wagner, game winner there in a comeback. Wagner. Oh yeah, Wagner. Wagner. Pronounce it correctly.
No, don't do it. Don't. I'm not. Don't start that.
Okay.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that joke.
And they also beat the Pistons, Hornets, and Bulls. They did not lose. They have not lost since the last time we did our power rankings. They move up 2 spots to the 6th spot. Very impressive what they're doing with Apollo. Good defensive team. Jalen Suggs is, still ascending, which is one of the keys to the season. Shout out to Stephen Cameron, who we had on during our preview. Quab, your overall thoughts on the Magic?
Hey man, like you said, very impressive that they're still winning without Paulo, who looked like he was having a MVP type season to start the year, and they've been consistently really good defensively. I think it's always like you try to look at the positive when have a positive outlook when a big piece of your team is not there. You try to see who's going to be able to step up. So when he comes back, they can continue that. And the Magic have just been, just consistent all around. You up and down the roster, like Wendell Carter Jr. He's back. He's been playing well. Goga has been playing well all year.
Game.
Yeah,
I love Goga's game. Yeah,
and just the Wagner brothers also still playing consistent, and they still have a good guard play. So I mean they're a tough team in the East. I feel like they're one of those teams where they're gonna end up beating somebody they shouldn't in the playoffs, and somebody's gonna be pissed. Some fan base. I'm not gonna say who, but fan base is gonna be pissed.
What are you trying to say?
Nothing. I'm just saying you're gonna beat somebody that's just gonna happen. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Number 5 is the Golden State Warriors, 12-6. They beat the Pelicans only, and they lost to the Spurs, Nets, and Thunder. They were without Curry.
I'm sorry. Who they lose to?
The Spurs.
Oh,
the Thunder.
Okay.
Oh, the Nets.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Yeah.
A huge Nets with a huge comeback on the road, by the way. Which I don't know what's going on in Brooklyn. I have no idea what's going on in Brooklyn.
But we could make 10. I'm sorry.
Get to 500.
Warriors.
Get to 500
We're
first.
talking about the Warriors. We're talking about the Warriors. Yeah.
Buddy Hield has come back down to earth. Steph missed the game against the Thunder, so that was a litmus test for me going into this game. Quab and I were going to do a reaction. Steph went out, and we said we're not doing that anymore. So they do drop a few spots here to number 5. I still think they're very dangerous. If Buddy Hield continues to play how he plays, I think they're a move away at the trade deadline from being taken very seriously. Still a top 5 team, but when you go 1-3 in the week, you got to drop a little bit.
Yeah, agree. I mean, even without Curry, this game with the Thunder, they only lost by 4. They were able to make a comeback. They're, like we've been saying all year, they're a deep team, and Steve Kerr has been playing 10, 12 deep in terms of his rotation. That's deeper than he was playing in the Olympics, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, I mean the Warriors, man. The Warriors look again when Curry plays. They look really, really good. Just really good. Like you mentioned before, Buddy Hield having a great season. Draymond is having a great season also. So yeah, we have them where we have just because they didn't win a lot of games this week, but they're still one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, so they're in the top 5 for now. We'll see how they react to this down a week. Let's move to number 4. This is a surprise, but this is the Houston Rockets, 14-6, wins over the Blazers, Wolves, and Sixers. They did lose to the Blazers as well, but a very entertaining game in Minnesota. This is a team I think that is very young, very exciting. I think they have a clear ceiling, though. I think their half-court offense needs to get better. It's kind of brutal to watch in late-game situations if it doesn't run through Sengun. That's probably the only half-court offense that I like from them. But outside of that, man, I mean, Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, we bragged about them last week. We're going to brag about them again. They are two difference makers, two game breakers, in my opinion. When you have two people on the side, that defensive side of the ball, who can like literally just change a game with defensive energy and just energy coming off the bench, that's huge, man. Yes, I like Houston. They're young though, and to me, we have them here at 4. I don't think they'll be top 5 for long, but definitely wanted to show some love.
Yeah, I mean, everything you said. Also, shout out Dylan Brooks. What? Yes. He's on the team. Like
he's having a good year.
He's on the team. Like,
he's having a good year. Yeah, he is. That's not why you said it. That's not why you said it.
That's not why I said. Why would shout out Dylan Brooks? Now, to your point, repeating everything you said. Like we've been shouting the praises of Tari East and Amen Thompson. We discussed this one of the previous episodes. Like at some point they're gonna either have to start them or keep playing them very high rotation minutes just because they just change the game so much. But yeah, I mean, shout out Dylan Brooks.
It's one of number 3. The OKC Thunder coming in at 14-4, wins over the Blazers, the Kings at Golden State. They did not lose last week. Having Isaiah Hartenstein is a breath of fresh air for this team. Let me tell you how much better they look with him. And honestly, I know I kind of ripped them last week because of how their offense looked. But to be fair to them, they were going small ball. They can't go small ball all the time, and expect to be successful and rebounding the ball and playing defense and all that type of stuff. So having Isaiah Hartenstein in the lineup, to me, is just, it's a breath of fresh air because he does so much for them in the pick and roll game, in the short roll. He can find the open man. He can hit a float. I was watching the Warriors Thunder game before. He hit a floater from like 18 feet, like from past the free throw line. Just a floater with his left hand. He's a fantastic passer. He's had highlight reel passes since he's been back. Today, they gave him the pass on the perimeter. I think it was Isaiah Joe. I might be wrong, but came off of his shoulder with a screen with Isaiah at the ball. Isaiah, in one motion, screens the guy. Like, he passes the ball through his legs, screens the guy, and then Joe hits the 3. It might have been at someone else. I think it was Isaiah Joe. But, I mean, just having that, and that's exactly what they needed, right? Like, last week, I was like, I'm kind of worried about their offense. And, their half-court offense just kind of seems SGA ISO and just kind of pass the ball around the perimeter and shoot a 3. But having iHeart there made such a huge difference. So, for me, a little bit of a breath of fresh air, but I still don't think they're as good as people say they are.
Ooh, spicy take there, buddy. Spicy. I think they just need to get healthy to see what they really look like. I think they lost one of the Jalen Williams today. The one that starts. They lost him to like an eye injury. And still waiting to get Chet back from his injury, and also Caruso has been in and out of the lineup. I don't think he played this game either. Those are very big factors in how
they are. I gotta be fair. They are. Yeah. They are. Thunder fans don't come out. I know. I get it.
Very big factor. So if and when they're fully healthy, it's when like I will have like my opinion about them. But I still think they're a very, very good team, if not the best team in the West.
Yeah, I think, if I'm a Thunder fan right now responding to me, like yelling at my laptop or phone or tablet or TV, like, you idiot, they started off the season winning the first like 5 or 6 games by double digits. Like, you just don't do that.
With ease. Yeah.
And that was with Chet, and Chet was looking amazing. So if you get Chet back, along with iHeart being back, yeah, I get it. It just, to me, I just feel like I watch them, and sometimes in the half court, they kind of make me nervous. Like, there's a couple of like, ooh, I don't know, but we'll see. They're definitely talented, and I will be rooting for them because they're a fun team. All right, let's move on to number 2. Dropping down one spot. Don't hate me for this, but we have the Cleveland Cavaliers at 17-2. They beat the Pelicans. They beat the Raptors. They did lose to the Hawks. This is not a punishment. I have to temper Cavs fans here because they're gonna come at me.
I can't believe the Cavs lost. Oh God!
How dare they lose a game?
Again. What are they doing? God.
I have nothing negative to say about the Cavs. You lost a game. It happens. Not a big deal. I just think the team at number 1, they beat you. and they are playing better basketball right now, and they just so happen to be the world champions. So you're better than everybody else in my mind. For now,
you could be better than the team that's number one too.
Yeah, you could be. I mean,
you
listen,
almost beat them too.
You go undefeated next week, and they drop a game or two. You're right back. You're right back in there. You're right back in there.
Yeah. So Cleveland, this is for you. Yeah. I mean, again, we'll say the same thing we said last week. They're having a phenomenal season. Season. So it's happy for Cavs fans and happy for Kenny Atkinson. I mean, happy for Jared Allen. Happy for Karis LeVert, and
we're just happy. We're happy for you guys.
We're happy. I mean, just all the former Nets.
There's nothing else to say. They've been fantastic. Kenny Atkinson has been phenomenal. Evan Mobley has been great. And they've been hurt too. Like it's not like they've been completely healthy throughout all this. Like they've had players miss games, and they're still winning. They're still winning. So shout out to them. Shout out to the Cleveland Cavaliers in at number 2. That is not a punishment. But in at number 1 is the defending champions in at 15-3, recently with the win over the Cleveland Cavaliers, going undefeated this week with wins against the Wizards, the Wolves, and the Clippers. It's the Boston Celtics. I hate these guys, but they're really good. They're really good. I mean, they're champions for a reason. Did you see the announcers like flipping out, the Minnesota Timberwolves announcers flipping out over Jaylen Brown's start?
Yeah. That was funny.
Absolutely hilarious. Yeah. But it is one of those things where it's like you go into Boston, you know this is a big game, you know you got to be perfect, and you know that there's certain things going into the game that could work to your advantage. And like one of the things that could work to your advantage like blows up in your face and absolutely destroys you. It's almost like having 20 in blackjack against a 6, and then the dealer pulls like a 5-card 21. Yeah. It's something against Jaylen Brown. You know, Jaylen Brown's a fantastic basketball player, just where he was taking those shots was not where he's been thriving all year. So, we every time we bring up the Celtics in the power rankings, it's just like, yeah, what do you say? They're good. What do you want us to say? They didn't lose last week. They're good.
They're great. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about them having that reaction of like Jaylen Brown. It's like, yeah, but that was the Finals MVP. So like,
he's an all-star. It's not like he's a bum. Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's not like he's also a champion. Like he has his resume kind of solidified after the championship run. And I get it because Jason Tatum is the 1A and he's having a great season. They just got Kristaps back, which is, I mean, that's pretty fair. You just add another piece of the Voltron lion.
Did he play against the Clippers? I didn't watch that game. I just saw the score. They blew him out. I know he's coming back soon.
I believe
we do a basketball
played.
Podcast.
Yeah, because I believe it was his first game back. He had 16 points, 6 for 12, 1 for 6 from the 3-point line because, you know, he has to shoot threes like the whole team. So, they got Kristaps back. So now they're pretty much intact. Good luck.
Boo. Boo.
Hey, man.
Boo.
That's a.
I am completely jealous of your success. This is me being jealous. Being jealous.
You're not. They're as is shown, like they are beatable.
Yeah.
The Celtics are beatable. The Pacers
are they beatable 4 times out of 7 beatable, or are they just
I doubt it. I doubt it. You got to be able to play a certain way and then shoot a certain way to beat them. So it's gonna be interesting come playoff time because you never know. But they're scary good.
All right, well, that's going to do it for today's episode of The Dime. If you want to follow us, you can on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. We need a Blue Sky, which is funny because I on Blue Sky at thedime.bsky.server. I don't even know like the whole thing, but we're gonna have to get used to that as well. We should make a Blue Sky. We should make a Blue Sky.
Unless somebody
we're gonna make a Blue Sky.
We're gonna make a Blue Sky.
Follow us on there.
Follow us on there. And also subscribe to the YouTube. Yeah, leave comments.
All that good stuff.
Yeah, because we know all your comments are logical, people. All of them.
I love them. I love them.
He loves them. I love them. So
I love disagreeing. I love respectfully disagreeing. Like,
yes.
You know what, Josh? You missed this. You know what, Josh? This was wrong. You said this, but it was wrong. Actually, factually wrong, objectively wrong. And I'll say, you're right. My bad. It's happened. It happens. We're not perfect. And we also have used your comments in the past in full episodes.
Yep.
Your YouTube comments. So continue to comment. All right. Well, that's it. We're going to do a full episode next week. We're going to continue to do hopefully 1 or 2 a week. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Quab, I am thankful for you and your friendship. Real talk. You're one of my best friends. And honestly, I think you might be the best person I know that has a penis. So thank you for that.
What a wild.
I mean, you are a great guy. I don't know what else to say about that. But thank you for that.
Thank you also. This was everybody. If you've been following the Dime before, you should know that this used to be just the Dime with Josh Rodriguez, and he fully asked me on to be a co-host as the show progressed. I don't know why. I think it's a terrible idea.
Because you're hilarious,
I'm out here
dude. People love you. The fans want you.
I'm just out here talking nonsense. But again, we're thankful for everybody that checks in, listens, subscribes, watches the videos. Please keep subscribing to the page. Keep listening. Like Josh said, we look at all your comments. We use your comments for future episodes. It helps the brand. So we're trying to keep growing the brand. So help the brand out. Okay, come on, help the brand out.
Help the brand. All right, we're gonna be reacting to some games as well. You know, big games that are on TNT, primetime games, popular games. I do Knick games, not always, but from time to time, just because I'm a Knick fan. So look out for those. Make sure you tune in for the next episode of The Dime. Peace.